This is Brian with First Boston, a division of Total Mortgage, and I'm here today to talk about steps to getting a mortgage. If you're buying a home or doing a refinance of your existing mortgage, you may be wondering how the whole mortgage process works. Knowing where you are in the process and what the next steps are can be very helpful. Let's begin with step 1, submitting an application. You can complete a mortgage application online, in person, or over the phone. Once you've submitted an application, I will contact you to ask some additional questions. The next step is to see how much you qualify for, which takes us to step 2, qualifications. If you're buying a home, we can provide a pre-qualification letter or pre-approval letter to you so that you know how much money you can borrow so you can go out and look at homes. Refinancing a home. When you refinance an existing mortgage, you may be simply wanting to change the terms of your loan to a lower rate or get a fixed rate mortgage if you're currently in an adjustable rate mortgage, otherwise known as an ARM. Or you may want to take some cash out, which is called a cash out mortgage. Whatever you want to do, you will need to know how much you qualify for. Whether you're buying or refinancing, we will ask you some initial questions like how much you earn, how much you have in savings, how much do you owe on your credit cards, cars, etc. This will help us find out what programs are available for you and how much you may qualify for. This brings us to the next step, which is submitting your documentation. Step 3, documentation. You will begin by sending in your documentation. This is the information we will need to qualify you for your loan. I will tell you exactly what we need and make it quite simple for you to send it to us. Once you have given us initial information, we will send you paperwork that is called disclosures, which is the next step. Step 4, disclosures. You will receive a set of disclosures. The disclosures are called a loan estimate and will include all of your costs of the loan. The loan estimate is a 3-page disclosure that details the costs associated with the mortgage loan. There are other disclosures that are required by law to be sent. It is important to review the disclosures and let me know if you have any questions. You must let me know that you have received the disclosures and are ready to move ahead. This is called an intent to proceed, which is the next step. Step 5, intent to proceed. The intent to proceed is usually completed electronically, which means that you're ready to move ahead in the process to the next step, which is ordering the appraisal. Step 6, ordering the appraisal. Once you electronically sign the initial paperwork, your home appraisal will be ordered. Some loan types allow for an appraisal waiver, and if you are fortunate enough to receive this, then we will not need to order an appraisal. The first step in getting your appraisal, we will be setting the appointment for the appraiser to come and inspect the home. The appraiser will call you to set a time that is convenient to inspect your home. If you're buying a home, your agent will be contacted to set the appointment for you. Once your appraisal is ordered, your loan file will move on to the next stage, which is gathering and reviewing any missing documentation. Step 7, processing. You may work with the processor who will be handling your loan file. The processor will review the documentation you've submitted to ensure that the file is complete. The processor's job is to be a liaison between you, the loan originator, and the underwriter assigned to the loan file. The processor looks for proper calculations to ensure the debt-to-income ratio, aka DTI, on the loan is accurate and orders flood certifications, mortgage payoffs, and various other documents. Step 8, underwriting. Once the processor has received all documentation necessary to support the information on a loan file, they submit the loan to the underwriter for approval. In most cases, after underwriting, an initial approval or a conditional approval will be issued. This means that the file is approved, but the approval is subject to certain conditions. We will let you know if there's anything else we need from you. Time is of the utmost importance, so if we contact you for additional information, you'll want to be sure to respond in a timely manner so that your loan file keeps moving along. It is the underwriter's responsibility to ensure that every loan meets the lender/investor's required guidelines. The underwriter reviews the validity of the appraised value, calculates the income used for the loan, and runs various loan fraud checks. If questions arise during this review, the underwriter will request follow-up documentation as needed. Communication. In a purchase transaction, many moving parts must come together at the same time for the file to proceed to a smooth close. Sellers, buyers, real estate agents, and title companies or attorneys all have tasks and responsibilities that must be coordinated. It is very important to us to remain in close contact with all involved parties and to make sure each one is aware of any potential pitfalls or delays that may arise. Step 9. Closing. Once the file has been given the clear to close by the underwriting department, it moves to the closing department. In a refinance transaction, closing is scheduled with you, the borrower, and we will inform the title company and closing department of the requested time and date. In a purchase transaction, the closing date is negotiated between the buyer and the seller of the property, and that date is included in the sales contract. Once the title company receives closing instructions, we will work with the title company to prepare the closing disclosure. The closing disclosure must be received by the borrower at least 3 business days prior to consummation. This typically is you signing your final closing documents. It's important that you acknowledge receiving your closing disclosure immediately. We will work with you and let you know when to expect your closing disclosure and how to acknowledge it. This is important because there's a 3-day waiting period between the time you acknowledge receiving the closing disclosure and the time you can actually sign and close on your home. Step 10. Funding, which occurs after closing. When loan documents have been signed by the borrowers and the 3-day rescission period has passed on primary residence refinance transactions, loan funds are dispersed. Prior to funding, we will review the signed documents and ensure that any prior to funding conditions have been cleared on the loan file. There certainly are several steps in the home loan process, but the great news is that our team is here to help you throughout the process. Thanks for watching. This is Brian with First Boston, a division of Total Mortgage, and you can contact myself and our team at 781-262-0003. Feel free to reach out anytime.